Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in again. This week we're going to be going over my budget computer build. This is going to be my new gaming and editing computer for my videos that I'm making. I will say, it is a budget build, so working on my quality old air hockey table here, nothing like a little static possibly on the table to get things interesting for it. As well as all these components I've pretty much sourced off eBay, except for the case, which I got on Newegg. Everything else is used. And, it is a budget build. All this together cost me roughly $400. Not a bad price for a budget computer that actually can edit pretty well. To start off with this computer, let's just start going over the CPU for it. So right here we got an X3440 Xenon CPU. It's 4 cores, 8 threads. It's really good CPU. It was used for a long time. A lot of people swear by it. It takes a very healthy overclock. And what I didn't tell you is I've actually been using this computer for a while. It's gone through a few different iterations. This will be the final one. It's going to be the full $400 budget build. But this CPU, I was running it on a stock Intel cooler for quite a while. Paid $7.70 for the cooler. It was a great deal and overclocked it to roughly 3.2 to 3.4. I forget what it was running at, but it was pretty healthy. I don't think you'll have too much of an issue in that range. And I only paid about $12 for the CPU. So that was a good budget investment right there. I did decide to start chasing a bit more of an overclock on it though. I invested in a Hyper 212 by Cooler Master. This thing keeps it nice and frosty. Helps you to hit much higher overclocks. I've been running it around 3.7, no issues. It's still a, pretty safe overclock all in all. People get these to 4 gigahertz all the time. I didn't really feel like pushing it, especially with just the age of the CPU. I did delid this CPU though, so I popped off the cover right here, and then I changed out the factory thermal paste they put in there with some nice cheap stuff because it was all I had on hand. It's been working fine though, and delidding it wasn't too bad. I'm not going to be covering that in this video, but there are plenty of other videos on YouTube that will show you how to delid an Intel CPU. As for our motherboard in this project, we're using the Asus P7P55D-E. It's an 1156 board, very solid. Got this board on eBay for roughly $30. The one thing about it was when they sold it to me, they told me that 2 of the channels did not work for memory. When I got it though, it works perfectly. So sometimes you just gotta take a risk. I was actually just planning to try and clean out the slots and see if I could get them working, but didn't even need to do that. The only thing that was a little questionable on it is when I got it, it was a little bit U-shaped. So, take the good with the bad, I guess. But works just fine, and once you put the 6 screws in it, you'll never know it's bent anyway. Other than that though, we have my power supply here. So this is just an old power supply I had laying around the house. It is a 450 watt. I priced it about $40. You can get them between $30 to $50 on eBay. So 40 was a healthy median, so I put that as the build cost of this. And you can get a really nice name brand one on eBay if you're watching the sales for about 40 bucks. I've had this for about 6 years though. I have no problem using it, so it's gonna stay with it. Other than that, we got an old mechanical hard drive. Not a bad pickup. I got this drive for, I think it was $23. So you can't really beat that, and it is 2 terabytes, and it's 7,200 for the speed. Works really good. I don't really have any complaints about it. Who knows what was on it before. When I got it, I just, ran a cleaning program on it and works perfect now. So, sometimes you just gotta go with that budget build. Other than that though, for memory, we got this XPG, and it's the SX850. So this is a 250 gigabyte drive. That's what I'm actually running the operating system on for this. we're sticking with Windows 7 because I had a product key for that, so that's what went on it. But it runs really nice, and you know, put your OS on this and put all your games on this, you're never gonna really notice all that much of a difference, and the load time of your OS is what truly matters. So I do editing on my SSD, then I move it to the mechanical hard drive once it's all done. As for RAM on this one, we did get some Corsair Vengance. So in total, I got 16 gigs of it. They're all 4 gig sticks. I bought them at 2 separate occasions. Both times I got each 8 gigabyte set for $26, so 52 bucks for 16 gigs. Can't really beat it, you know, it's really nice. It's Corsair. You cannot beat this stuff. It just runs great, overclocks well, and you're not going to have an issue with it, which is the main thing. Not to mention it was blue, which kind of went with the overall aesthetic. So other than that, we got our GTX 960. I bought this because got a great deal on it, and honestly, putting too new of a graphics card with an older CPU like this isn't going to do you much favors. You know, you got to kind of keep the components relatively balanced. This 960, it's a 2 gigabyte variant. I don't have any issue running the games I want to play on it. That's mainly, you know, just Counter-Strike is what I play the most on it. Other than that, though, I got Destiny 2 running on it. Had no issues with that. It was averaging right around 60 FPS, and that was with textures turned up. So it worked really good. I have no complaints about it. Bought this for, it was $84. I also bought a R9 290, same price. It was $84 as well. That was the 4 gigabyte variant. They both work great. I prefer the 960 just because for my old power supply, it only takes an 8-pin rather than an 8 and a 6. So I chose to put this one in the build. Not to mention, it's rated to where a 450 should be able to handle it with no problem. Other than that though, just got some case fans. I bought 4 of these fans right here on eBay. They were only, it was 20 bucks for all 4 of them. Can't really beat that price. I haven't noticed an issue with them. They look great, and they, you know, they're just perfect all in all. You don't need to spend that much money on a fan. It's a fan. Invest in your components. Other than that, I got my bad choice of 2 fans that I got off Amazon. Not bad fans. They look great, but they look about as good as my 4 for 20, and these were 2 for 15. So going back over it, I would have just bought these and called it a day. Finally, we get to the main computer, the case for it. I decided to get the Cougar, let's see, I got it written down here. It is the MX330-G, so it is the tempered glass variant. This case looks great. It's got the nice little power supply basement on it, and I have no complaints about this case. It was right around $54 shipped and brand new. Nothing you can really say bad about that. I mean, it works. Nice little feature on it. Got the nice magnetic screen so you can get your dust filtered out nice. And it's got one underneath for the power supply as well. Other than that though, that's our main components for the build. We're going to be using this quality cheap thermal paste that I actually got off eBay a long time ago. We're not going to go into that. But I've had this tube for a long time, used it on multiple game systems. It works fine, you know, it's not great stuff, but bought this tube for like $2, so who's going to complain about that? Worst comes to worst, it dries up and you put some more thermal paste on the CPU. It's not that difficult of a procedure, you know? So I gotta say, I've been pretty happy with this build, but let's get into assembling it and I'll walk you through it and we'll be able to go from there. I'm gonna try and show each step so everyone can actually follow along if they're building one. Not that I'd recommend, you know, this exact build. If you want to, you're more than welcome, but this is more just as an entertainment video more than a how-to. I'm just gonna show you how to do it while I put it together, because why not, you know? And you can take what you will from me and If I do something wrong, well, you can laugh at it. So let's get to building it.